Hello? Is the microphone working? Yeah. Cable was just gonna not in all the way. But hey, look at this. Nothing exploded. I'm not terribly late. I'm not having a violent diarrhea. What a rare occasion. Everything actually kinda went well. Connection seems fine, right? Right? Yeah. Look at that, everything's actually working as intended, including me. Well, for the most part. Still not quite at 100%. For last night was kinda shitty. What, are you gonna send me emails right as I start streaming? But of course they will. But not to worry, it's nothing I have to respond to right away. Yeah, so last night I, you know, speaking of violent diarrhea. TMI, maybe. But hey, you know, that's me. I just feel very comfortable confiding in new people. What diarrhea, Ratchet and Clank? Oh, you know, just the usual. Just the usual that happens to me sometimes at, 7 in the morning when I'm trying to sleep. Yeah, you know, then once it subsided, I was like, oh, finally I can sleep, it's Sunday, I don't actually need to, like, be anywhere or do anything. Just at that moment, the moment my head hit the pillow. Those two assholes downstairs. They started fucking... They started going at it. I think this time the woman was beating the man. By the sounds of it. So that was a fun time. Should I do all of these? Yeah. Good. I'm kind of starting to think that, the next time they make any kind of noise, I'm just gonna call the police immediately. Because, I mean, they've been here like 3 times at this point. It's reasonable to assume that they're throwing hands again, if they're like making any kind of noise. Because at this point I don't really even care about, the well-being of either of them. I kinda just want them gone. And I figured, if the landlord's not gonna do it himself, if just telling him what's up is not enough of an incentive. Maybe if the cops keep showing up because these people are punching each other in the fucking mouth, maybe that'll fucking motivate. Jesus Christ. Time to call the cops at this point. Yeah, I have, multiple times. But usually I wait to the point where I can actually hear them, like, fighting, like, physically. But maybe from now on, if they just start screaming, I'll just call the cops. Like, maybe I won't call the emergency number, but I'll just call the local police station. They're pretty close by. Or option B, I move the fuck out of this building because this place just seems to be kind of cursed. I think my new neighbor might be some type of alcoholic as well. The one that just moved in this week. So that's good. That's fun. Have I ever had the type of diarrhea that makes my balls hurt? 5 a.m. and the pain only goes away by shitting. In a weird way, I think I have. But I think that's not just because of the diarrhea, I think it's usually when I've, gone like a longer time without taking care of business, let's just say. I think that kind of contributes to it. I guess we're supposed to go to Metropolis. Didn't quite make enough money last time to buy the new armor, but oh well. Oh no, wait, but we have those... We have those new challenges, right? Maybe we'll do those first. Who knows? I was looking at 3 apartments in this city just last week, and I saw one that was like about the same size as mine, a little bit older, but it was also like $60 less per month. Also, it wasn't like a... What's the word? For like a tall building. Is it a high rise? Whatever, you know what I mean. Like a tall building where the apartments are stacked on top of each other. Whatever the right word for that is. Not a skyscraper, this is like 8 floors. But apartment. Well, I mean, you can have like apartment buildings that are like 2 floors, but they're just like wide. I don't know. Just one of those few things that I've never bothered to like look up. You know what? Maybe it's time to learn. Apartment building types. Okay, those are just apartment types. Not the types of building. That picture's tiny. Let's learn us some knowledge. Nope, that's also apartment types. Apartment buildings can be categorized by size and style, such as low-rise, mid-rise, and high-rise. So I guess this would be like a mid-rise, maybe? Because it's not quite like a high-rise building, I wouldn't say. It's not quite that big. Yeah, I don't know, I'm still kinda confused. Yeah, I guess this would be a mid-rise. But yeah, that one was like a low-rise building, I suppose. It's like 3 or 2 floors, I think. Costs less money. It's about the same size, although I think some of those square meters were in the bathroom, because it has a electric sauna in it, which would be kinda nice. Although expensive, so I probably wouldn't be using it too often. Also, it had cable internet, which would be kind of an improvement. And I am kinda tempted to get out of here. But then again, that apartment was in a part of town that's supposedly even worse. Although I have heard conflicting opinions about that. You know, just considering it maybe for next year. Because this ain't no way I'm gonna do it this year though. I'm just not gonna have the energy. But hey, maybe next year if I get like a job or something. You know, I can get some kind of a vehicle, maybe. Maybe not a car quite yet, but maybe one of those like electric bicycles with like a grocery rack, so I can actually consider moving a bit further away from the stores. Because that kind of seems, generally speaking, the worst part of town. You know, that's just where all the loud people are. But yeah, that's just something that's been on my mind. You know, other than that, I think I'm kind of getting slowly getting through the worst of all this nonsense that I have to do before I can actually become an engineer for real. And I think my thesis is actually done. Finally. I'm still waiting for comments from the languages teacher. He has to check it for any grammatic errors, but I don't think there are any. I went through it myself 7 times. I fixed everything that I could find, although there were maybe like 4 mistakes. I just got the grades for my many scientific papers that I had to do, despite not being like an actual scientist. That's just a part of the standardized studies, just, you know, people running academia hate students. No. Yeah, you know, assuming all of the online courses that I have completed over these 5 years, assuming they all get, like, fuck. I don't know the word again. Like, accepted for my, as a part of my degree, because I didn't really consult the teachers when I did those. I just kinda did them. And worried about the consequences later. But I also sent those for evaluation, so assuming all goes well, I should be done by the end of the fucking year. Ain't that exciting? Then I'll be free to pay rent for the rest of my life, probably. That seems to be the way things are going. Now that I'm free from all this studying, I can start working 8 hours a day, just to afford rent and food, and the ever-increasing costs of power. What a wonderful world we have created for ourselves. But hey, you know, I got business plans. I'm getting pretty good at investing, so hopefully that will just be a temporary thing. No. Lasted a bit longer than I thought. I'm personally never gonna move out of my mom's place. I get cheap rent and the heating bill is shared. Yeah, a lot of people are having to do that. Guys, you're gonna attack. There we go. Although I'm sure this won't be like a permanent thing. You know, these things, they kinda tend to come and go. I'm sure once the economy and the economy collapses and the housing market collapses again, because they're kind of doing that again, and the AI bubble bursts, I'm sure things will get cheaper again, at least for a while. But I think one of the biggest things right now is the cost of power. I mean, I've been seeing the price of power go up like 700% in, you know, some places since 2022. Both because of the war in the Ukraine and the increasing energy costs of data centers. So that's another fun side effect of the AI bubble. I just hope the world copies China when it comes to housing. Let me stop you right there. I do not hope for that at all. That is the last thing I hope for. I know it's a pretty common thing these days to like believe China's kind of got the things figured out. But that is so not fucking true in reality. China built so much housing, everyone who invested in housing there got fucked. There's enough housing for like millions of people who aren't even alive right now. I don't like China, but the housing part we could take notes. In that one regard, that they built like... They just built like more housing. Like, yes, we should just build more. I guess that's one way to like reduce prices, sure. But you know, in China, I don't wanna give them any props on this one because their housing boom wasn't actually like a real one. That is 100% like an investment scam. They just got foreign investment by inflating their numbers by essentially building just like shit quality high-rises. Many of which were never completed. And now people are kind of buying them. You know, in the sense that you can buy things in China. Which is leasing them for 70 years from the government, I'm pretty sure. But now they're finding out that a lot of their apartments aren't even done, and they're in these like big ghost cities. Like they're China has built enough housing for an extra 1.4 billion people. That's another China. They have twice the housing that they need. They have entire empty cities. Full of like these incomplete houses sometimes. If they are complete, they're fucking just trash quality. Like I've seen so many videos of like just strong gusts of wind blowing the walls away. From like the top floor. And they're really trying to hide the fact that they fucked up so badly. Now they're selling it to Westerners like, oh yeah, China solved the housing problem. You know, they built affordable housing for an extra 1.4 billion people, like it's a good thing. First off, most of them can't afford those incomplete apartments. And a lot of those who can't live in them. Like even if they want to live in those buildings with like no water or no power, like the government won't let them. The police will drag them out sometimes. There have been protests there. Which, you know, to us probably sounds like, well yeah, of course there would be protest if somebody sells you an apartment. That's not done. That's China though. In China protesting is like actually dangerous. So it really is getting like bad out there. And sorry if I'm going on a bit of a rant and not focusing on the game, but you know, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, and I just keep seeing all this fucking just like North Korea level propaganda. And people are actually falling for it, like, oh, it's a Chinese century. Oh, the century of humiliation for the US. China is pulling ahead. China is barely a second world country, okay? It's just a big North Korea. Please, everybody just stop this. I'll stop there before I go any further. But if anybody wants to know more, just go to YouTube and watch The China Show. Like there's a podcast literally just called The China Show. There's also some kind of news program called The China Show, but that's not what I'm talking about. The actual China Show is like a podcast run by these two guys who used to live there. Who are like now enemies of the Chinese state, just straight up. Anyways. Thought it was 99 years. No, I'm pretty sure it's 70. Yeah, they made comic blocks even worse. Somehow. I didn't know that was possible. You know, say what you will about the Soviets, but those buildings at least lasted. Like, Soviet infrastructure is still around. Meanwhile, like those big Chinese infrastructure projects that you've probably seen on like Instagram and Twitter. Like the new world's tallest bridge and whatever. Those crumble in like 2 years. Like modern China does really not have like building standards at all. I've seen so many videos of like construction workers just like chipping away at like support poles with their hands, you know? Like support structures made of like concrete and rebar. But of course, you know, they happen in China, so you never hear about them. They have the Great Firewall. But there was that one skyscraper built by a Chinese company in Thailand. I think it was last year. There was like a very... it was a pretty mild earthquake. Like none of the other buildings built by the Thai people, they were fine. Only the Chinese skyscraper collapsed. People were going to the rubble. They were like examining the fucking debris. The rebar there was like pencil thin. And not only that, it was made from like just pure Chinesium. People were fucking bending and snapping it by hand. You know, thing that's supposed to like hold up a skyscraper. I know I said I would stop my rant, but it's just... It's kind of insane and not a lot of people are talking about it. Because they're all like, oh, look at this, China made a bone glue. That's not actually real, and they made a nuclear battery. They invented this nuclear battery that's actually just the same as the pacemaker batteries we've been using for like the last 50 years everywhere. It's all just bullshit and whatever. Roll this thing in China, you might as well be starting a revolution. Yeah, that's what the government's scared about, you know, they see any kind of like big gathering of people, they just kind of go in there. Start beating people up and putting them in vans and shit. China is not just a big North Korea, China has food. Yeah, sort of. Is it food that I would eat? No. But I guess some of them have food. Sometimes. Depends on where you live. A lot of the countryside is still very, very, very poor. That's another big myth that comes out of there, you know, that Xi Jinping's China has ended poverty. They fixed the problem, but actually they didn't do anything, they just changed they just changed the definition of poverty. Like, I think the average Chinese person still makes like, what, $400 a year or something? The place sucks is my point. Don't fall for it. Oh, that was a temporary thing. Snipe these real quick. That food might start a pandemic, but there is food. Fair enough. Though, to be honest, that pandemic also came out of a lab 100%, so that's, you know, that's another thing. I live in a commie block, it's also pretty okay, yeah. The Russians at least know how to build stuff. You know, my grandmother had she had an East German laundry machine, and I'm pretty sure it's still being used now. It was made in like the early 70s or something. Also, China has a Chinese version for almost every game, and PUBG has a Chinese army propaganda. But their Minecraft is apparently better. Yeah, they, you know, I guess after so many decades of just stealing and copying everything made by, you know, Westerners and the Japanese, they've gotten kind of okay at it, in some regards. It is still mainly trash, but, you know, some of it is functional, I suppose. I still wouldn't buy it, because, you know, I don't believe in theft, but I guess that's some kind of an achievement. We had a laundry machine for like a decade, I don't know what happened. Then we got a new one, it broke in like 2 years. We got a new one 3 years, and now we have another one. Modern fridges and washing machines are just made to last the warranty period. Most things are. Kind of a funny some recent occurrences. I had like a mobile AC unit, because the AC in this building kinda sucks. And I shit you not, it broke 3 days after the warranty was done. Same with my like water boiler thing, whatever you call it, kettle. 2-year warranty. Bought it in 2020, in August of 2020. Broke in September of 22. Although I bought a new one right away in 22. I bought the cheapest one the store had, because the last one was like a more expensive one that my parents got me when I moved out here. I bought the cheapest one in the store. It doesn't even have like the window. It feels very like rickety. It's very poorly made. Cost 15 euros. Had a 1-year warranty. Still works. It is kind of funny how it happens sometimes. Like some of the very like expensive brand name stuff. Sometimes just breaks like right after the warranty. Then I buy like a really cheap piece of shit replacement. Then that lasts like a decade. Also, they aren't just copies, they are official games made by the original devs, just to, you know, block Chinese players off from the rest, but also remove anything that may go against China. Oh yeah, they do it too, yeah. That's true. Though there also are like actual just straight up copies of pretty much everything. Like there is just a Chinese knockoff Battlefield. That is just a Battlefield. The laws are so strict around them that they only follow the laws exactly to the letter, and after that's done they don't care if it lasts long. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that's also a thing that started with China. Another wonderful development we have to thank them for. Because, you know, back in the day. Back in the day when before everything was made in China, you know. Companies, they kinda had this thing called integrity. They were like kinda proud of what they do. But then the Chinese came around and started making cheap shit that breaks easily. But it's so cheap that people just go and buy another one. Companies kinda realize like, oh, we could do it too. You know, better yet, instead of just making things poorly, let's do a bit of planned obsolescence. So China pioneered it by just being kind of shit. And then Western companies perfected it by doing it on purpose. And really well. just a beautiful combo of the consumers getting fucked over. Beautiful. So yeah, you know, long. The short version is I'm not a huge fan of China, as you might have figured. Not a fan of how they've been kind of just deep frying the brains of Zoomers into thinking they're gonna be the next world superpower. You know, from what I can tell, it's not really gonna be as much of a Chinese century as it's gonna just be like a... I don't know, maybe a Chinese 5 years before they just completely implode. Because let me tell you, they're not really doing well on any front. There have just been massive protests going on over there because workers just haven't been paid for months, sometimes years. There have been even plenty of instances of like factories and workplaces being burned down on purpose. Because that's kind of the only recourse they have over there. Despite what they might have told you about China being like a beautiful socialist workers' paradise, they kind of just don't have rights over there. You know, if a worker doesn't get paid and refuses to work, they kinda just call the police on them and the police will take the side of the company. Not a fun place. And if anybody ever doubts that, then, you know, you can just look at the statistics of people leaving China versus people coming into China. Because let me tell you, nobody's moving into China. Pretty much. So it's like maybe a couple of hundred people a year, like, immigrate to China. But the amount of people just leaving China for the US is, I think, about 400,000 per year in these last couple of years. Fun fact, the Chinese market was flooded with cheap foreign junk in the early 1900s and the locals couldn't compete, so we basically did it to China first and then China did it to us. Yeah. That's what a lot of countries do. Japan kinda did it. Although in fairness, the Japanese stuff was actually kinda well made. But yes, they did do it too. Westerners did it to China. Now China's doing it to us. That is pretty much history in a nutshell. We just take turns fucking each other over. Humans, you know, generally speaking, are just kind of a big bunch of assholes. And yeah, you know, it was partially the fault of foreigners that China turned into what it is now too. You know, they didn't come up with those ideas on their own. You know, Mao was a big fan of Marx and Stalin. He essentially wanted to turn China into another Soviet Union. Look it up. He even wanted to like replace the Chinese alphabet with the Cyrillic alphabet. Hated his own people, by the way. Like, genuinely. I think there was like just a straight up quote of him saying that it doesn't matter if China loses like hundreds of millions of people to a nuclear war, because there's like over 1 billion there, so it's like fine. And another one where it's like it's fine if half of Chinese people starve so the other half doesn't have to or something. And yeah, he's still like worshipped over there. They have him on the fucking money. Which is kinda wild because not one single thing has caused, you know, more Chinese deaths than Mao Zedong. And they worship this guy like he's a fucking god. It's like a national hero. Those workers are just greedy money. Those workers are just greedy money is the root of all evil. You do not need capital in communism. Even if China is basically capitalist, all but in the name. Yeah, funny how it tends to happen to like communist countries. Real interesting, isn't it? 4 rounds with 25 discs. I reckon we probably have to make these dudes kill each other to some extent, so we can save ammo. Come on. There we go. Stop moving so this guy can shoot you. There you go. Come on. Come on. There you go. Keep forgetting the whip also comes back. Oh, there we go. Only 7 rounds used. I truly am a master of conservation. I saw one of those people doing the whole making China look better than it is. He claimed to own a house in China and the US, and I just hope he lives 70 more years and gets kicked out of his lease. Yeah, I hope his house is one of those that just happens to be somewhere where the government wants to like build a new highway. So they can flex on a Twitter. Or like one of those rocket boosters lands on his house because they kinda... You know, the Chinese space program also kinda doesn't bother like checking where their stuff lands after it's discarded. So there have been instances of rocket boosters just kinda falling on like villages. That'd be kind of a funny turn of events. To be fair, 1 billion is a bit too much people. You know, that I agree with. In fact, here's my radical take of the day. I think any city with more than 100,000 people should be bombed. That's too many people. Every country on Earth should have the population density of Finland. And if they did, we would have none of these problems, I think that is actually true. You know, that's another just disturbing thing, you know, about like seeing China or India or Japan or something. Just these cities with like tens of millions of people. I would probably commit suicide if I lived in one of those places. Ugh. It's fucking disgusting. Just a gross little human hive. Like especially China during the holidays. Because, you know, they don't like space them out like we do over here. They have like a couple of really big, like, government mandated holidays. Like the recent National Day. Where hundreds of millions of people will like flock to the countryside. Because that's how it is for like a lot of people there. Like their parents live in the countryside. They're very poor and then the children and grandchildren they go live in the city. They work over there, they send money to their parents, so on and so forth. But then during the holidays they'll go back home, all at the same time. So you have like a good 300-400 million people just moving at the same time. And it looks absolutely fucking horrendous. Like when we think about traffic jams over here, it's like, oh, I was stuck in traffic for half an hour, though it was terrible. Or maybe if you're American, you've been in traffic for like hours. There have been traffic jams in China that lasted for weeks. That is not a joke. You can go look it up. Or maybe you can't, I don't know. They do tend to scrub the internet of these things. Well, not scrub quite, but they can like manipulate search results. They're very good at that. Also in the Afghan Taliban, people love Hitler. Oh yeah, I did hear about that. That's actually true. I thought for a long time that was like a joke, but recently I heard that's like a real thing. Quote from a guy who lived there: "Doesn't everyone love Hitler?" Yeah, there are some places in the world where they adore Hitler, apparently. The capital here has over 500,000 people, but the whole country has like 1.4. Yeah, see, that's a reasonable amount. That's a good amount of people. Estonia, Finland, Sweden, Norway. We have the right amount of people. But then we start moving further down south of the planet. And it just kinda gets out of hand. Like a country the size of India or China shouldn't have 1.5 billion people. Maybe 100 million tops. And I mean, there's proof to support this claim. Especially in China, because they have pretty much poisoned like 90% of their groundwater. So, in case they get a new source of like drinkable water, also they're gonna be kind of fucked on that front. They're just the more I talk about China, the more I realize like just how fucked that place is. They're gonna run out of water, their economy's destroyed, all of their buildings are crumbling. They're just pouring billions and billions of dollars into like propaganda efforts rather than actually fixing any of those problems. They're just kind of sweeping them under the rug. Their demographics are absolutely fucking screwed because of the one-child policy. And it's kinda too late to reverse it now. Like the damage is already done. Even if they did try to do something radical, the cost of raising a child has gone up so much there that you just kinda can't. Like they've straight up started like paying people to have kids, but they just won't because it's not enough. They're like, oh, you can have a couple of $100 a month or something if you have more than 3 children. But it's like the education of one child costs like more than it does in the US. In a country where the average salary is like a fraction of what it is in the US. Couple of $100 is not really gonna fucking cut it. And now they're also like, just running out of water. And the whole country is like running on oil and coal. the air quality index is like... I think on a good day it's about like 120 in the big cities. And I think the worst it is in Europe is like maybe 30, 40. In like big industrial areas. I think my cities is like fucking 5 or something. You know, lower being better, of course. Crazy place. Crazy place, and it's even crazy that we don't talk about any of this. Because I mean, that's gonna be like... That's gonna be our generation's like the collapse of the Soviet Union. Except probably bigger. Because China just is bigger by population. Like when the shit's gonna finally hit the fan? I don't know what's gonna happen. Usually I can predict these things pretty accurately, like, oh, that's gonna turn into a war. Or that's just kinda gonna... That place is kinda just gonna... You know... descend into madness slowly. I don't know what's gonna happen to China though. Is the government just gonna like start shooting people when they try to overthrow them? Which I imagine they eventually will when things get bad enough. Turkey and Istanbul has like a million or two. Imagine living in a city that dense. I don't wanna. I don't even wanna think about it. I've been in Stockholm, I've been in Helsinki. Been in Tampere many a times. And even in those places, you know, they have like hundreds of thousands of people. I feel kinda claustrophobic. Whenever I'm out in the streets during the day, I feel like, oh, I gotta get out of here. This ain't a good place. So living in a city that's like the same size surface area-wise, but has like 10 times the fucking people? No. I don't wanna do it. What? Oh. I didn't realize my weapon fucking switched. It's like, why aren't this gun of iron? Go forth, my little boys. Heal. Hmm. Who the hell's still alive? Oh, this guy. There we go. Yay. Sounds like fun, but to be fair, China has really bad drivers. They haven't had cars for long for the public. Yeah, that's true. They kinda only became a thing like in the last 20 years. And you know, 20 years ago they were still like... They were still kinda like figuring out what a transmission is. So yeah, they haven't... You know, in fairness, they haven't had long to practice, so... Kinda makes sense. But also, like, their driving tests are kinda... They're kinda bullshit. From what I hear. So yeah, you know, a couple of 100 million bad drivers going into the same... Roughly the same area at the same time. Now that's a thing that I don't even want to imagine. This reminds me Japan has to do something to make people have kids again, because they are slowly going extinct because people are barely living by themselves. Having a kid is way too expensive. Yeah, that seems to be kind of the way of the world. You know, the most developed nations seem to be... They seem to be declining the fastest. That's just kinda how things go, you know, people get... You know, things get more advanced. People get more educated. Things get more expensive. Then we just have less kids. I think it's mostly the cost. Because, you know, that seems to be correlated. You know, that seems to be the strongest correlation. Of course, there are other factors too, but... You know, most importantly, the governments around the world don't seem to care about any of them. They're just like, oh well, we'll just get some immigrants in here, it's fine. We'll just get some poor dumb people who will make lots of babies. And that is the real reason, don't be fooled into thinking otherwise. And also, what if some of those people are former ISIS fighters? What's the big deal? They'll just blow up some random people at a cafe or something. Eh. Biggest city I've been to was Tartu. Tartu. And I think that has just the right amount of people, 97,000, not too many, not too little. Yeah, I think that's about the maximum. there wasn't... I mean, wasn't there a car crash when the US had only 2 cars? Give them like 10 years to figure their shit out. Yeah, I'm sure. They'll figure it out eventually. You know, everybody needs practice. You can't figure shit out right away. Can I defeat all of these enemies without taking a hit? Probably not. But we'll see. I'm good. I'm glad they started me with this weapon. Guess this really is the best weapon for avoiding hits. Also these, but you know. Ooh, that was close. Ooh. Can you please fire? Thank you. Eight rounds without getting hit. Can I do it? Probably. If I just use these very lazy strategies. Don't tell me the big machine gun's gonna show up. I'm not gonna be able to avoid that at the same time. Are you crazy? Nope, I already won. Okay. That was easy. Defeat Scorpio while Wretched's weapon changes on its own. Who's Scorpio again? Oh damn. Well, to be fair, I have like... You know, I tested it off stream how quickly I could defeat these two. And I think I could potentially do it, but I think we'll do these smaller ones first. Can't do that one because I don't have it. Oh, okay, that's Scorpio, okay. I don't know, maybe I should have picked something a little less, I mean a little more relaxing than this game. You know, I had to skip yesterday's stream because I was just kinda feeling... Not sure what the right word is, not quite tired, but like sluggish. There's a fucking electric thing there. Exhausted? No, not quite exhausted either. Maybe weak would be the right word. Like I wasn't sleepy, you know, I didn't feel like lying down, but whenever I did try to do something intense, I just kind of felt like, maybe I won't do it, maybe I'll just sit here and play Stalker for 8 hours straight. Started kinda wondering if maybe I'm like iron deficient. Because now that I think about it, I have been kind of doing things in the last week and a half that would cause something like that. You know, 3 days after each wisdom tooth was removed, I was kind of on a liquid diet. You know, first day was just smoothies, and then 2 days was like vegetable soup. Haven't been eating a lot of red meat, and also many of those smoothies had raw eggs in them. Which, you know, I did not remember it at the time, but I did remember now that I started thinking about it. Eggs do have like a protein that like fucks with the absorption of iron, and also I think B12, which is also something that can cause anemia if you don't get enough of it. And also I've been drinking like lots of green tea to help with the whole healing process. You know, in case you guys don't know, the tannins in green tea and black tea, they kinda constrict blood veins upon contact, and also they help with the blood clotting. So it did speed up healing, but also green tea and black tea both. They both also prevent the absorption of iron, so... You know, just a theory. That might be why I'm feeling so shitty. This must be what vegans feel like all the time. Crazy. Although, I mean, I do have also problems with absorbing certain nutrients as it is. So that might also have something to do with it. And, you know, kind of the cherry on top, because I've had to go to the dentist many a times and also attend many a meetings and go to places and whatnot. My stomach's been kind of upset a lot. Which probably doesn't help either. So I think I might be lacking like several nutrients. I'm just all fucking out of nutrients, man. Wasn't enough that I had my fucking teeth stolen. But worry not, for today I went to the store. And I bought many fruits rich in a vitamin C. I bought peanuts, I bought some liver. Bought plenty of pork. And I've died again, goddamn. Yeah, maybe I should just, you know, not do that one. Let's try to do this one, maybe. Because I don't know how to avoid those discs. Well, that went well. Guess I should get closer. Fuck. If I can hit them before they start doing their little attacks, I can pull this off. Fuck, that was close. I just gotta pay a bit more attention. yeah, that's my theory. Why I've been so damn pooped. Hey, you know, maybe if you guys have similar problems, that will help you too. Some tips on how to maximize your iron intake. Ooh. Oh, there we go. Nice. We can almost buy the new armor. Yeah, there you go. Some good action. Some tips on how to absorb iron, some knowledge about China. It's been a very informative stream this far. But hey, you know, that's me. I'm not only an entertainer, I'm an educator as well. Oh, and one more iron tip. Calcium also kind of interferes with the absorption of iron, so you wanna maximize your iron, you eat vitamin C, eat nuts, eat green vegetables, and of course red meat, liver, blood. And avoid coffee, tea, and dairy. Okay, this is gonna work. Just jump. Although I still don't know how to avoid the flamethrowers. Oh, now we got a good one. Ooh, look at that damage. Yeah, I don't know how to get away from this without running into these fucking electric things. I don't know, I might be too tired for this game. But hey, now we got lucky. That might have done it. Although this might have lost us the chance. Cannot trap between these things. Oh yes, come on. Oh, so close. Well, we were close enough, so might as well try again, because after this we can actually buy the new armor. Get bullets, please. Nope, they just didn't launch. No, go away, go away. Oh yeah, that's a good bit of damage we might actually pull this off if I can just get away from these fucking flamethrowers, which I can't. That's impossible. Come on. Close, close, close. Ooh, there we go. How much would we get if we did the one with the twins again? 6,600? Yeah. Let's get some extra bucks just for buying ammo and whatnot. Why the heck not? That is a lot of damage. Oh, that's so close. Learn to aim, you noob. Stop using aimbot. E. There we go, 258. Now we can go buy the new armor and I don't know, should I hit the next planet or should I play something else, because I'm kinda not feeling this one. Kinda not feeling like flipping around and having to use my reflexes. Because I don't really got any right now. Should I just play something else, like, I don't know, City Skylines maybe? Don't Starve? Oh, that's the wrong place. There we go, 250,000 bolts. Well spent. Although I kinda like the red better. Yeah, I think I'm gonna save Metropolis for next time and find something a bit more relaxing to play, because goddamn. Yeah, I'm gonna take a short break and I'll hopefully figure something out in the meantime. Gonna get myself some more hot cocoa. Maybe one of those popsicles that were still on sale, so I bought 8 more. Because I am a wise investor. Yeah, I'll be back in just a little bit.